Brenda Matthews saw the black man approaching her marble desk. She immediately closed her laptop with a loud snap and shoved the service temporarily unavailable sign in front of him. Her eyes swept him up and down like he was dirt on her shoe. "Could I see a room service menu?" Terrence Washington asked politely. Brenda rolled her eyes dramatically, leaned back with arms crossed. "Listen, this establishment caters to exclusive clientele, people with actual money." She gestured dismissively at his suit. "That might fool some people, but we know quality." Behind him, a white couple approached. Brenda jumped up with a bright smile. "How can I help you today?" The humiliation was intentional, public, calculated. Terrence's jaw tightened, but his voice stayed steady. "I see." He reached into his leather briefcase and pulled out something that would change everything. "Have you ever been completely underestimated?" What happened next exposed the most shocking twist imaginable. 10 minutes until the quarterly board meeting. Terrence checked his phone, then looked back at Brenda with that same calm expression. "Perhaps there's been a misunderstanding." "No misunderstanding here." Brenda picked up her desk phone and pressed a button. "Devin, I need you at the front desk. We have a situation." Within seconds, Assistant Manager Devin Pierce emerged from the back office. Mid-30s, perfectly pressed uniform, the kind of smug confidence that came from never being challenged. His eyes locked onto Terrence immediately. "What seems to be their problem?" Devin's tone was all business, but his body language spoke volumes, arms crossed, blocking Terrence's path to the elevators. "This gentleman seems confused about our establishment," Brenda said, not bothering to lower her voice. "I've explained our standards, but he's being persistent." Devin nodded knowingly. "Sir, I'm going to have to ask you to step aside. You're creating a disturbance for our actual guests." Actual guests. The words hit like a slap. But across the lobby, something interesting was happening. A young black woman named Aisha Cole, maybe 22, was setting up her phone on a nearby coffee table. Journalism student. Always had her phone ready. She'd been watching the entire exchange. "Y'all," she whispered into her phone's camera, "are you seeing this discrimination happening right now at this fancy hotel?" The live stream title appeared, "Racist Hotel Staff Exposed." Viewer count, 23. 156. 847 people watching. Meanwhile, Devin was stepping closer to Terrence, invading his personal space. "Sir, I need to see identification and proof that you can afford our services before we can continue this conversation." "Proof of what, exactly?" Terrence's voice remained level, but something flickered behind his eyes. "Proof of adequate funds. This is standard procedure for certain situations." Certain situations. Everyone knew what that meant. The comments on Aisha's stream were exploding. "This is insane! In 2025? Get their names! Call the police on them! Black excellence being disrespected." Viewer count climbing, 1,203, 2,156, 3,891. From across the marble lobby, Jerome Banks watched the scene unfold. 50-something, head of hotel security, 25 years on the job. He'd seen this movie before. Usually, it ended with someone getting escorted out, someone's dignity trampled, someone's day ruined. But there was something different about this man. The way he stood. The quality of that briefcase. Jerome's trained eye caught details others missed. Terrence slowly reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out a business card holder. Expensive leather. Real gold trim. As he opened it, a first-class boarding pass fell to the marble floor. Devin bent to pick it up, probably planning to use it as ammunition. Instead, his face went pale. The boarding pass read, "Washington Terrence. First class. Destination, board meeting, NYC. Priority guest." But that wasn't the shocking part. The shocking part was the airline logo. Grandview Hospitality Group Corporate Fleet. Jerome stepped closer, his security training kicking in. He recognized that logo. Every employee should recognize that logo. 8 minutes until the meeting, Terrence said quietly, checking his phone again. I'd like to resolve this quickly. Devon was still staring at the boarding pass. Sir, This says... It says exactly what you think it says. Terrence's voice carried a new edge. The question is, what are you going to do about it? Aisha's stream hit 5,200 viewers. She was practically vibrating with excitement, but keeping her voice low. Something big is about to happen, y'all. This man isn't just some random guest. The chat was going wild. He's got a corporate boarding pass. Plot twist incoming. This hotel is about to get owned. From behind the marble pillar, other guests were starting to notice. Phones coming out. The kind of crowd that forms when something interesting is happening. Brenda was getting nervous. Devon, just handle this. Get him out of here. But Devon was reading the boarding pass again. And again. The corporate logo was unmistakable. His hands were actually shaking now. Sir? Devon's voice cracked slightly. Perhaps we should discuss this privately. No. Terrence's response was firm. This conversation is exactly where it needs to be. Public. Witnessed. Documented. He gestured toward Aisha's phone, which was clearly recording everything, then toward the other guests who were now openly staring and filming. 7 minutes, Terrence said, checking his phone one more time. I suggest you make them count. Jerome caught Terrence's eye and gave an almost imperceptible nod, a sign of respect between professionals. He'd figured it out. But Brenda and Devon? They were still digging their hole deeper. I don't care what that boarding pass says, Brenda announced loudly. Company policy is company policy. We have standards to maintain. The irony was lost on her completely. Aisha's viewer count hit 8,000. Local news producer Carmen Rodriguez was now in the comments, DMing you now, we need this story. The momentum was building. The witnesses were multiplying. And somewhere in corporate headquarters, phones were probably starting to ring. But the real shock was still coming. Terrence looked at his phone one final time. 6 minutes. Then he looked at Devon with something that might have been pity. You have no idea who you're talking to, do you? The marble lobby of the Grandview Palace Hotel had transformed into an arena. What started as a simple request for room service had become a public spectacle that would soon make national headlines. 5 minutes until the board meeting. That's when General Manager Patricia Holloway emerged from the executive elevator. 55 years old. Steel gray hair pulled into a severe bun, power suit that screamed authority. She moved with the confidence of someone who'd never been challenged, never been wrong, never been held accountable. Her heels clicked against marble like gunshots as she approached the growing crowd. What is the meaning of this disturbance? Patricia's voice could freeze water. Her eyes swept over the scene. Devon holding a boarding pass with shaking hands, Brenda wringing her fingers, and at the center of it all, one calm black man who seemed completely unbothered by the chaos surrounding him. Ma'am, Devon stammered, this gentleman has a corporate boarding pass, but nothing. Patricia's tone cut through his explanation. I don't care if he has the president's boarding pass. This is about maintaining standards. Our reputation depends on the caliber of our clientele. She turned to face Terrence directly, looking him up and down like she was examining livestock. Sir, I'm going to need you to provide immediate proof of your ability to afford our services, or I'll have security escort you from the premises. The words hung in the air like a challenge. Aisha's phone was capturing every moment. Her viewer count had exploded past 12,000, and the comments were a blur of outrage. This is 2025 and this is still happening? Get her name tag. Someone called corporate. This man is about to destroy them. I can't believe this is real. But it was very real. And it was about to get much worse. Patricia raised her voice, ensuring everyone in the lobby could hear. Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for this disruption. We're handling a situation with someone who seems confused about our establishment. The humiliation was intentional, designed to make Terrence leave quietly, tail between his legs, dignity shattered. Instead, he smiled. Ms. Holloway, Terrence said, reading her name tag, you're absolutely right about maintaining standards. The question is, whose standards are we talking about? Something in his tone made Patricia pause. There was an authority there that didn't match her assumptions, but she'd come too far to back down now. Security! Patricia called out sharply. Jerome Banks approached reluctantly, his radio crackling to life. Behind him came Mike Torres, a newer security guard who hadn't learned to read situations yet. Mike's hand was already moving toward his radio, ready to call backup. Remove this individual from the premises, Patricia ordered. He's trespassing. Ma'am, Jerome said carefully, perhaps we should... I don't want to hear it, Jerome. Do your job. The crowd was growing. Hotel guests had gathered in a circle, phones recording from every angle. Aisha had positioned herself for the perfect shot, her stream now approaching 15,000 viewers. Local news was taking notice. Carmen Rodriguez from Channel 7 was already en route with a camera crew. On social media, hashtags were starting to trend. Hashtag Grand View Discrimination, hashtag Hotel Racism, hash Justice for Terrence. But none of them knew Terrence's last name yet. None of them knew what was really happening. 4 minutes, Terrence said quietly, checking his phone. Patricia's patience snapped. 4 minutes until what? Your ride to the homeless shelter? The crowd gasped. Even for Patricia, that was too far. Mike Torres stepped forward, trying to assert authority. Sir, you need to come with us. Now. But Jerome held up a hand. Wait. Something was bothering him. The boarding pass, the corporate logo, the way this man carried himself. 25 years in security had taught Jerome to trust his instincts, and every instinct was screaming that this was about to go very, very wrong for Patricia Holloway. Ma'am, Jerome said quietly, I think we should reconsider. I think you should do your job, Patricia snapped back. The tension in the lobby was suffocating. Other hotel guests were backing away, but their phones stayed trained on the unfolding drama. Some were calling friends, describing the scene in real time. Others were posting to social media, adding fuel to the growing fire. A group of businesswomen near the elevator shook their heads in disgust.